No, I agree. It definitely needs to come together. Minute left of reserve time, so not as much time to think about these picks left here for 5ManMidas. I believe we saw this last drafting phase as well. They did take quite a bit of time to make those final pickups. 40 seconds left. And they'll go for the CM. So we know it's a core DP now. An immediate Pango pickup here from the cut. Fair enough. That could be a position for Pango, offlane Prophet. Could be the other way around. Still very flexible here for the cut, not really revealing too much. 5ManMidas, back to them. So we know it's a core DP. I'm still under the impression that it might be an offlane DP for 5ManMidas. This fourth pick may kind of give it away.
I think it should. Like you don't want to flex all the way till the end here. Not with these kinds of heroes. The cut going for Pangolier doesn't have anything to worry about here. There's no hold. Maybe you get messed up by the shards coming through, but that's really it to stop the Rolling Thunder here. 5ManMidas do go into the Terrorblade, which can have a good time early on. You do have a lot that can come out from TBCM. The slow into Metamorphosis can be hard, but the cut just go back into this Batrider. So they're feeling confident. They go back. It's good control, good magic damage to deal with the Terrorblade. The control you have, again, on 5ManMidas is just not enough to stop something like the Bat. And it is open here for the cut. Like, with these pickups, you've got flexibility for, say, a Pangolier support, an NP support. You can easily just flex that around as well going into your own last picks. Well, let's see what 5ManMidas does do. Batrider against potentially a DP is pretty alright for the Batrider as well, although the DP should also be able to sustain. But as you mentioned, this is looking to be probably an offlane DP, and we're going to see DNM's hero last pick. But we'll see if that is the priority for 5ManMidas.
Looking back to the cut, I think you're better off running an offlane Prophet, and maybe you run the Pango Pos 4 as well, right? Because running the offlane Prophet means you're going to get the levels faster, which means you're going to get the treants up faster, which also means you're going to deny away a lot more creeps from the TB. The Pos 4 Pango can kind of just spend his time lucky shotting the Terrorblade and just being annoying overall. The cut still seem to believe that this is going to be a mid DP now, getting rid of some offlane heroes for the cut, or rather 5ManMidas. We see the Tidehunter banned out, one more to go. And in all fairness to 5ManMidas, they are lacking a lot of team fight. There's not really many stuns either. You've got Frostbite and you've got Snowball. That's it in terms of lockdown right now for 5ManMidas. We also see the puck being removed, so a lot of AoE kind of control being removed here by the cut. 5ManMidas do still have something like the Mars to go back to if they so wish, which I don't actually think would be that bad this game. We'll see what they do decide on, but they definitely need something. They need some kind of control here. Otherwise, this Terrorblade's just kind of... It's going to have to frontline at this rate, and that's not going to be very fun for the TB.
No, not the lineup for the TB to frontline here. Even if you get a BKB, you always have to worry about the lasso. We saw that in effect last game as well with the Roar, with the lasso coming through. So you don't want the TB to be up front and center. Well, options are starting to be limited though. The cut still looking for that Scourge McDuck hero. I mean, you've got Troll if you want to. I mean, you worry a bit about the Terrorblade matchup, but it's not a big factor. There's a reason why we don't see as much Terrorblade. And that's something we didn't even point out. 5ManMidas, they're doing something we've seen in previous patches. DP Terrorblade. And that's two big cooldowns here, Mike. That's Exorcism and Metamorphosis. So your game's constantly revolving around that timer.
It's that classic combo we used to see all the time, TBDP. All the darn time. But it is what you kind of talked about. If you can't hit the timings, it is a very rough combo to try and run. And now the cut have a CK. So they are kind of the kings of the mid game right now with this draft, right? You've got a Pango, you've got a Batrider, a Chaos Knight, even the Prophet Enchantress. Everything is quite strong throughout the mid game. And in terms of their draft as well, their lanes seem very secure. At 5ManMidas, they are going to finish things off with a mid Storm Spirit. So forget the control. They're going to run the offlane DP here. Of course, the safe lane TB. I have to lean towards the cut again. I think their draft looks much stronger. Apart from maybe the D&M Storm, which could be the kind of main factor here for 5ManMidas' success. But it does seem like a hard game, even for the Storm. It's by no means a free game for that Storm Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have too much control to worry about. The best one is really that lasso. Maybe you get hit by a bolt from Scourge McDuck, but that's something you can dodge out. So for that, at least DNM has a lot of space to really push this hero to its limits. What I want to see from 5ManMidas now is to allow DNM to farm up. Last time around, we saw him throw his body out. He was buying space for lies. Can't happen this game. DNM has to build into his item timings. He needs his Orchid into his Bloodstone. Maybe even a BKB if he wants, but probably not a high priority here. And just hit his own timings ASAP. So Storm timing, much more important. I think the Terrorblade, you push out with Metamorphosis, you go back in the jungle, you sit back and farm. But you have to ensure DNM also gets an equal amount of farm. So we'll see if they can get that farm distribution out. The cut, as you mentioned, I mean, they've got a lineup that can just easily run down. The mid-game timings are so scary to go into. And even with that Storm, an issue you pointed out earlier was teamfight control. The Storm doesn't give you that much. Not until the Ags comes out, and that's way late in the game. So when it comes down to throwing 5 bodies forward, the cut might just be able to run you down anyway if you're not careful.
No, I do agree with that. It is going to be a very tough time, I think. We'll see what DNM can get done on this Storm Spirit. Going to be a lot of pressure on him. Of course, a lot of pressure on Monster on that DP to have the best laning phase he can have. As the Death Prophet does tend to kind of start to drop off if you do fall behind in farm or you die a couple times. Definitely something he has to be very wary of. And Scourge McDuck will run into him now. But it's a CK. You're probably not going to kill him at level 1. Not unless he gets caught out of position, but Scourge already sees everyone. He's going to be just fine to sit around. In fact, the rest of his team have started rotating over. So Vol and Pingu going to see Egg Stuff. Just one kind of throw there from the Enchantress. Not too big of a deal. 5ManMidas are completely ready to go. They have 4 heroes down at this bot lane ready to fight if necessary. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend that 5ManMidas don't fight, because they do have a task. So you do have that innate advantage with tag team. They might just try it now. Aikster is there with Borko. Monster around. Stun being thrown, but bounty is going to be taken. They aren't going to risk it, as the tag team was popped, and I think the rest of the cut would rather just hold on to their regen for now.
Yeah, and it's still not too bad of a start here for both sides. Just trading even on the bounties. They haven't taken their triangle bounty down on the side of the cut, so someone's got to get that job done. Looks like Vol is going to make the slow walk towards top, so he's going to pass by that. Gives us a chance to look down mid first. Batrider versus Storm. DNM up against Little Nick. This one should hold steady. The Storm has the same issues to watch for as the Invoker, but he doesn't have that innate regen that he can get that we saw last time on DNM's Invoker. So he's going to have to expend a little bit more regen, and Little Nick can look to play aggressive, especially at level 1. Without the overload, not much of a threat from counter-fighting in for DNM. Although now that he's at level 2, it shouldn't be as big of an issue.
Yeah. Thing is, with the Batrider nerfs that occurred, it is quite hard to hit creeps. The Sticky Napalm really doesn't help that much anymore, and DNM's having a great old time CSing. Does have to be slightly cautious with 10 Sticky Napalm stacks, but does have the stick charges there just in case he needs it. Of course, up at top lane, you do have Lies, who had already popped the meta for that first wave. Vol is currently there, going on to steal Borko. You do also have Tingle King around on the Prophet. And the thing is, once that Metamorphosis is down, it should be Tingle's lane. Like, he should just have the freest time denying creeps away from Lies.
Yeah, and there's nothing stopping him from just getting that damage off. He has this Blightstone start as well, so you're mitigating some of that armor on Lies. You can trade rather nicely. He's got 3 range creeps now on his tier 1. It's going to be a huge amount of EXP that he gets solo because of how much space Vol is just creating. He's not even going up. He's doing the same thing we saw him do on the line. Focus on stacking that Ancient up for Little Nick, and just focus on giving Tingle King as good of a start as possible, which is coming out. Like, you are getting farm on Lies, but Tingle King's not too far behind, and As long as the Prophet is still getting that EXP, he can just pressure out lanes, which is what you want in that hero anyway. So have to watch yourself here up top for 5ManMidas. Not much you can do as a CMTB as well. So it's going to be a bit more passive for them here. Gives us a chance to peek at that bot lane. Scourge McDuck is there on his CK along with Pingu on that Enchantress. Of course, they're up against Monster on the off lane, that Prophet, and Eichster on the Tusk. Now, there is aggression that can come out here from 5ManMidas. They've got Tag Team ready to go. They've got Spirit Siphon at level 1. They can clear out the waves with Crypt Swarm. It's just that these heroes are fairly tanky. Pingu doesn't have Nature's Attendant yet, but can get a nice big creep on the enchant. And Scourge McDuck is just a hard hero to commit onto. He's got a lot of HP, a decent amount of armor. So it's not the safest bet to dive right into. And for now, Scourge McDuck is just finding some good farm. So maybe once more EXP flows out here, they can start to look for angles. But right now, it's just a solid lane to have for the CK.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly looks like bad news already in that off lane for 5ManMidas. It's nice and all to secure your own farm, but I don't really see a way of killing off Scourge here. And generally a free farm CK is going to be some pretty bad time for 5ManMidas, but top lane Lies does get first blood, which happened last game as well. He does get the first blood gold there on the TB, killing off Tingle King. So again, a very nice start for the TB in game 2.
Yeah, it's a good time here for Lies. He's still getting the timings he needs. I mean, every time Metamorphosis is up, you can't trade his DNP. The only good thing there for Tingle King is that he gets to TP back for free with teleportation, so not much is lost, but you aren't getting as much value. Even down mid, we saw DNM bullying a little bit more, although Monster...
Yeah, he's Spirit Siphoning. He is juking his way out. The courier just caught a glimpse of him, but I think it's a bit too late, unless Scourge can get the stun off, and Monster, he's stuck around! Maybe assuming Scourge didn't have mana for all that. Meanwhile, mid lane, Lil Nick trying to survive, almost ends up dying. He's trying to race for the Arcane Rune, but Eichster is going to be able to pick one up. Just run away. Denied. But what a shame down at that bot lane for Monster. Very unfortunate stuff, and Scourge Dark, he's going to enjoy that free gold for himself.
Yeah, it's a really nice kill to find, and just sets him up to keep farming, keep having no pressure applied to him. He knows the Tusk isn't there, so they go again.
I mean, why not?
Where are you going?
He has 10 stick charges as well, so he's got mana. He just needs those cooldowns available, and that's a nice stun there from Pingu. Monster has no way out. There you go. Inhibitor shot being thrown from the Enchantress will be enough. And on the brighter side, Eichster was around for the bounty rune, so you get that. But that's about all you get. A second kill for Scourge McDuck. I'm sure the cut are going to be very happy.
Yeah, they don't mind at all. Just getting these kills on CK is big. Scourge McDuck gets to accelerate into this Midas pickup he wants, which is alright in the CKs. He doesn't have natural farm, although down mid, this is the big difference from game 1. DNM is controlling Lil Nick very well. Level 6 up on the Storm, Lil Nick just about to hit 6. And you're finding that early farm you want on the hero. They've not been able to punish DNM all too much in support rotation, so the Storm is set to have a good time here.
Well, Vol almost going down. That top lane, Lies, going to be sprouted up and should be able to run away, but he does take a bit of harassment himself. Meanwhile, DNM does end up getting the kill onto Lil Nick, but is being chased down by a creep wave. But it should be just fine as Eichster does come in for a nice salve, and DNM even gets lucky with the Illusion Rune being down at that bot rune spot. So things going pretty swimmingly so far for this Storm, 1-0-0. And now up the top lane, 5ManMidas do bring in Eichster with the snowball to cancel the TP off. And with that meta damage, there's no way for Tingle King to get himself out.
Yeah, it's a good start for 5ManMidas. They're playing with their spikes really well, applying pressure. The Cut have slower supports, like they can't help mid. That's where it's really boiling down to this mid. Like last game, we saw them control every single rune spawn. This time around, DNM gets to refill his bottle every time. Lil Nick is just forced to jungle up, and again, the jungle process is a lot slower for your Bat Rider now. Lagging behind in level, so you have to watch his Storm timing. Orchid is being farmed up by DNM, queued up next. And once he's got that Orchid timing, he's going to be very active across the map.
Monster enchanted up. It's going to be a fair bit of damage flying out here from Pingu, but not quite enough. Still, Borko was there just in case with the Frostbite. Looks like Scourge McDuck on the CK is actually opting to go for a Midas build-up. I wonder though, does he go for the Aghanim Scepter this game? Because the Axe does still seem very, very broken. And I think an Axe Rush after Midas, maybe you could afford to pick up like a mid-range item, like an Echo Saber, for example. But I think it would pay off here for the CK to go for that Aghanim Scepter this game.
It could. I think for a safe lane CK, probably not a priority to rush it. You might want to just go for a more traditional build, maybe an SNY after an Echo Saber or something. I think you need the CK to be able to stand up in front. The Ags sort of just relegates you to more utility. I mean, there's some good damage that can come true, but the timings of it are a bit awkward for a CK, especially if you commit to Midas, right? You've got so much good right-click speed. You've got a great steroid in your crit. You kind of just want to play with that while it's strong. Still, 5ManMidas, they are smoked up. DNM is level 8 and he has double damage. He's going to look for something.
Are you not the jovial
See what they can get done. They might find Vol in that mid lane. DNM has the zip if he wants to, but he might want to wait for a bigger target as well. I'd say at this point, you may as well just take the kill and run.
I'm over here.
Looks like they're going to miss out on a Vol. Nice positioning by the tier 1 tower, keeping him safe. DNM not able to capitalize on the DD yet, but top of the net worth board on the Storm is still going to feel quite nice. There's not really much in the way of killing him right now. This little Nick is just concentrating on just taking these ancient stacks for himself and the Batrider. That should be just enough gold to give him the boots of travel up. I suppose after the boots of travel is when you can really feel confident to start chasing people down with this lasso, but not before then. He does get all these creeps anyway.
Yeah, no contestation out. They do secure that stacks. The rotations are still coming, Pingu.
Yeah, Pingu's being chased up. Does have the Nature's Attendance, but this time with a double damage rune, DNM is not going to have so many issues.
Thank you.
Exter will actually be the one to take the kill there on the Tusk. And they might just focus their attention now to that bot tier 1 tower. And if they're lucky, John, they might even find Scourge.
Yeah, that could be a big kill, but he is TPing out before anything can happen. Really good timing from 5ManMidas, though, to play with his fresh Exorcism on monster. So they're going to find that bot tier 1. They are getting their top pressured in. It is a Nature's Prophet. It's already down to 156. So it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, and
This is a bad trade.
the Cot actually get pressure down mid as well, so you're not actually winning out here for the side of 5ManMidas.
Now, this is a really bad trade if they lost this mid tier 1 tower. They aren't going to, though. Borko is there with the Crystal Nova to make sure that that tier 1 does stay safe. Because the rest of 5ManMidas have rotated it, just in preparation of defending that tier 1. And looks like everything is going to be just fine for now. There's a lot of damage being dealt as all.
The seeds of fortune.
Because seeing the Midas up on Scourge McDuck now, he does indeed queue up the SNY straight after. And while I was talking about that jump bot lane, Lil Nick does end up getting a solo pick off onto Monster. However, Pingu also being chased up. Tingle does TP in. Now Lil Nick there has not got a lasso and will not be able to cancel the TP of DNM. They do at least kill off Eggstar. And I think with that Tusk dip, they can go for that mid tier 1 again.
Man, there's nothing stopping it. The Storm is forced home as well, so DNM's got to walk a long way back if he wants to get the defense off. Not much Steel Borko can get done by himself, except toss out some Crystal Novas, which is nice, but not enough. So that is definitely going to go down. There's a big spike here as Scourge McDuck just pops a Phantasm. And with a Hand of Midas and Power Treads, CK actually hits pretty darn hard, or at least pretty darn fast. So you will have to watch yourself. Scourge is going to be feeling very comfy to start fighting. Whereas on the side of 5ManMidas, you just want Lies to keep farming up. And he is. He's getting that steady build-up on the TB. Still number 1 in that worth, but by a small margin of 300 gold. DNM is up there as well. And I believe his Orchid's coming out, so that's going to be something they want to reveal in a very big way.
Certainly do. There it is. Smoke up. Orchid there. Top lane, they know that Lil Nick is farming the creep wave, and that would not be such a bad kill to take. As this Batrider is working towards that BKB now. They're running straight into him. Eggstar gonna break the smoke. Snowball there with the Orchid out. He's still quite fast with the Firefly, but not fast enough for DNM. It's a great smoke rotation from 5ManMidas. Now the lines have been drawn out. Monster already in that mid lane, ready with the Exorcism. I believe 5ManMidas will start the tier 1 mid-tower push very soon.
Yeah, they need to play around this exorcism timing. They want to turn their bodies up front, get the push going, keep distracting them from looking for lies, which is so far working. They just have to worry about these timings on the cut as well. Like the NP Orchid can cause issues for DNM because he went for an Orchid himself, so he has nothing defensive. And as long as they kind of isolate the storm here on the side of the cut.
Oh, they've got an Orchid on Tingle. Lasso out. TPs are coming in. It might be too late. No, lies. He gets asunder in time. He's still in danger. But can they finish him? They can, but it may cost them a lot as they do lose Tingle and they do lose Lil Nick. A 2-for-1 trade. Looks like Vol is going to be able to TP out. But 5ManMidas, you'd have to argue they come out somewhat on top of that trade, with 2 cores going down, even if it does cost them their position 1.
Yeah, I mean, you're still happy about finding those kills. What you aren't happy about is the fact that the fight's on the side of the map where there's no tower to take. So Monster is sitting on Exorcism a bit more. They don't have enough TPs to counteract this shove up top, and that's going to cost them. Like, they TP'd so many heroes down bot that Tingle King can just get this damage off onto the top tier 2. And we saw the cut play around that timing, around the top tier 2. If they allowed him to take this objective, they're going to lose a lot of jungle space up top.
Yeah, I mean, Tingle just with the casual Blightstone as well. Just, you kind of underestimate how much that speeds up a tower push. But it really does help, especially when you have this many units around. And that'll be the tier 2 top tower gone. Now Lies mid lane, along with the rest of the team, is starting to force in that tier 1 tower. But their outpost has been taken. And no matter how you look at it for 5ManMidas, they are behind in objectives. Which is really not going to feel great for the TB, who is going to need a lot more time farming than, say, the CK by Scourge McDuck, who already has the SNY pretty much up. No, he doesn't. He actually switches around and goes for the BKB next up. So ignores
I don't think that's
finishing off the Arsha.
Yeah, it's fine, right? You get this casual status resist. I think Scourge McDuck is one of the players that actually likes leaving it on the Sanj. We kind of saw the same thing from his Raid King. So he just wants the BKB to stand in front. Once you have that BKB, there's no control. Maybe you have this punch out to get control off, although DNM walks into Tingle King.
And both of them silenced right now. Tingle's actually going to die. Lil Nick now would love to chase, but DNM's got so much mana. There's no real chance of him dying. Eggstar able to take the bounty rune away from Vol. Shards do connect. Snowball there. Vol. Rolling Thunder not going to be there in time. Now this zip in with the silence is going to mean another kill. Pingu also being caught with his pants down. Is trying to heal up, but the damage from DNM with the double damage rune is going to mean a double kill out for the Storm. So far, so good for DNM. He's having a great game.
It definitely is. I mean, as you say that, Eichster just dug up a bounty rune for DNM to bottle up as well, so he can zip again.
Oh, Lil Nick. Not much mana left this time. The Orchid's still available. Meanwhile, Scourge killing off Borko, but Lil Nick still being chased up by Eggstar. With the Firefly trying to run, but they have the Walrus Punch now. He's still just getting away, however. Doesn't have a blink or anything like that though, so Eggstar will eventually be able to find him out. He tries for the TP, but it is going to be cancelled by the Walrus Punch. And Lil Nick, you could argue he bought a bit of time, but ultimately I'm very sure he did not want to die there on the Bat Rider.
Yeah, it's not what he was looking for there. DNM starting to build up on the Storm. He's finding kills, finding pressure. Lies was around as well to soak up from that. So 5ManMidas are winning out these trades now, at least in terms of heroes. They need to translate that into objectives, and the next thing they'll look at is probably a tier 2 if they can get a wave shift out. No opportunities for that yet, so they're going to have to take a step back and try to find an angle here, but the cut are not building up as fast, and the issue here is Lil Nick. We're seeing Lil Nick in the spot DNM was in game 1. He's not finding farm and Scourge.
Oh, silence on the illusion. It won't matter though. They've still controlled him up, or maybe it does, because now they'll turn right back around. DNM. Oh boy. He was having such a great game, but that death is going to be a mark on his name, and now they get another. Eggstar also to go down to the Tusk. And I'm not really sure if he would have gotten the kill anyway with that Orchid on the right target. The illusions were already there, which does make it hard to commit. But at least you wouldn't have been stunned up, and you probably wouldn't have died as the Storm.
Oh yeah, it's really unfortunate there for DNM. Like, going far, trying to find that kill in Scourge McDuck ends up costing him a ton. And now, the cut, they get the bit of the lead back and they can go into the rush, and this melts fast. You've got Nature's Prophet, you've got Enchantress, you've got CK who can just crit through and apply even more minus armor. It's not going to take too long to take this out. 5ManMidas can look to play. They are smoked up here.
They are. Rushing in. They have some time to go. Aegster, he could get the vision out with the shards, and he does. But he's kind of blocked the Roshan off. Zip in DNM. He might be able to get it, and he does. He got the Aegis on the Storm, but he is going to lose it straight away. Now Aegster in trouble, but look at the illusion damage out from Lies. He gets Skirt McDuck. They kill off Vol. Tingle's going to be able to TP out, but I can't say the same for the Enchantress Pingu, who is going to die. A great zip in there from DNM to get the Aegis away from the cut. And that could really be the turning point here for 5ManMidas.
Yeah, that's a big win for them. They could transition this Exorcism into a push, although it does fade out, but they can shove in. You've still got Metamorphosis running here on Lies, and he hits like a truck. So they're playing around their timings well. The cut now have to take a step back. They need to try to get some more farm up. Really unfortunate, but really good angles from 5ManMidas reading that play. And they do have a bit of a lead for themselves now. 1k up, Lies is top of net worth. DNM's feeling confident, zipping around, trying to find these pickoffs. Still saving up for the Kaya into that Bloodstone, so not quite there yet, but you are seeing more farm distribution come out here. Like the Ults is up on Monster, so he has a way of actually getting some control off stably, saving himself in the middle of these fights as well. And the issue for the cut now is control. They have no good control for the Storm besides the Orchid coming out. Maybe you can get a lasso off with Lil Nick, but he just doesn't have the best angles without the blink. So it does mean that 5ManMidas have a bit of a spike here that the cut have to be ready for.
Pingu trying to take the outpost before that 20-minute mark. Is going to get punished for it and doesn't get it anyway. Now Lil Nick trying to go onto Borko. Scourge going to throw the stun out onto Monster instead with the Rift. And now the Phantasm and the Lasso just in case. They'll find two onto Aegster. Sprout is going to land with the Orchid, but he does have a Quelling Blade. It's going to be fine to get himself out. Can they take the outpost before the 20-minute mark? Yes, they can. It is just going to be a 1-for-1 on those outposts, though, as the bottom one was taken by 5ManMidas.
Evens out the EXP game, so they're not going as big of a deficit here for the side of the cut. Really clean play to get that done. Find a couple of kills as well. Not the biggest losses here for 5ManMidas. So it's not too bad for them to lose the offlane DP and the support CM. You're not going to feel too bad about it. You're still getting a lot more on the map. Still, the cut do have the blink up now on Vol. So they have the options for blink rolling thunder. And that could give them the setup they need, could give them the control they need to win out these fights. You're going to want that blink up as well in Lil Nick. And I think if you hit those item timings, the next step is to just bait out these spells. If 5ManMidas pop Exorcism and don't find kills or don't find an objective, then I think the cut's just going to be happy with that. And so far, again, they've taken that mid-tier 2. We haven't seen an opportunity for any more of a push. They do have the next meta up, and they do smoke up.
Yeah, I mean, Lies getting closer and closer now to that Eye of Skadi, which is a very scary point for the TB. That Eye of Skadi is up. Scourge still trying to finish off that S&Y. Just about has it, but he needs to avoid this gank. They're going to spot him, and the zip is there with the snowball follow-up. They should have enough to burst him down, and he pops his BKB too. DNM didn't even pop his Orchid for that. Very unfortunate for the CK. I believe that was his 9-second charge on the BKB. But regardless, without buyback, now they go after the tier 3 mid tower, and 5ManMidas looking better and better as the game goes on. DNM zips in once again, straight on to Vol, and Vol is going to die. That'll be a mid-Rax now. They are well and truly in control of this game, number one. But somebody needs to defend that top Rax, as it was being forced in by Tingle, who does get the tier 3 and a lot of damage out. And now even the lasso is there by Lil Nick. Should be enough to kill off Aikster, but here comes Lies. Tingle King, he could try for the TP play. Lies, in fact, just gives up on it. Just doesn't want to keep chasing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They could have easily found the secondary kill on Tingle King, but they do manage to get the defense off. They found the melee racks mid anyway, so not a big loss. Just losing that top tier tree in exchange. The cut trying to stay alive by going for that split push play, and that's one of the ways they can sustain themselves here. They're not too far behind to still play this way, but Liza's getting really scary, and DNM is just having such a fantastic time in the storm. Like, a big difference between game 1 and game 2 is the fact that DNM is able to be this active early on, does have his Kaya up, saving for that Bloodstone now. And once you have that Bloodstone on the storm, a lot of issues get fixed up. The Cuts still need to try and find his farm. They need to blink up on Lil Nick. They're going to need more items out here as well on Tingle King. He is trying to go for this Ags buildup, so he wants that control you get with Rat of Nature. He wants that lower cooldown as well. So more uptime, and that does mean you can maybe catch DNM out by surprise. Again, he didn't go anything defensive on that storm. You can look to punish that. Not going to be enough to hold down perhaps a TB. Lai still has a really long BKB charge, 9 seconds left on him. So it's not going to be as strong against a TB, but you do ideally want to have Lil Nick focus the lasso on that target anyway. So starting to see some itemization from the cut, but 5ManMidas still looking good. Perhaps this is where they find their first win.
Be nice to see it. They definitely look like they're probably going to pull off this win unless they have a series of unfortunate events happen in this game number 2. It is their game to lose, though. I mean, just based off how much they've gotten off this map. All they've got to do is just play some good, solid Dota. Don't let Scourge get too farmed up on the CK, because you never know. He's already queued up that hard after a Blink Dagger now, so if he gets to that point, he is going to have over 4k HP. And that's when things can get a little bit scary. But that being said, Lions has already started building into the counter to the heart, which is, you know, the Eye of Skadi. You do counter out a lot of the regen. Aikster.
I've
Jesus.
got goosebumps.
They were saying in lobby about whipping Aikster for being late, so how the tables turn.
He hasn't even got a ball whip though, John.
Doesn't matter. Still gonna whip.
Fair enough. I thought this disconnection would last a lot less long than this, but apparently not. This is our first long pause of the day, though, so you know we've had some pretty good luck today.
Yeah, it's fair enough. It's looking better as long as it doesn't last longer than this game, which I mean it's not gonna last more than 20 if both sides use their pause time. So you've got an excess of 2 minutes of actual game time at the least here. And going back to your point with the bullwhip, there is a bullwhip here for 5ManMidas. It's just no one's picking it up.
Oh
So
no.
need to see that come out. Aikster needs to pick it up and start whipping Pingu. Put him into shape, you know?
Terrible stuff. I love the bullwhip, by the way, John. Like, generally speaking, in my pub games, it's just such a great item to have. You just boost yourself up throughout the whole game. The mana regen's really nice, especially if you're playing a support. Just really helps you escalate, kind of pushing out those lanes safely without giving your life away. Really a big fan of this bullwhip item.
Yeah,
And you-
it is really flexible. Really
For some
nice to have.
reason as well, like I find that when people get to like tier 3 towers and they're going high ground, even though the bullwhip does nothing, they just keep whipping their teammates over and over again as they're hitting the tower. It's like it's not really doing anything per se, but you know, I guess it's just the idea of it, you know? Just telling them to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, it's motivational, you know? You hear that sound effect, you just
It
want to
is-
keep going.
It's a nice sound effect. I'll give him that.
It's a Kraken whip. I mean, it just gives move speed. Like, you don't necessarily need the move speed when you're sieging, to be fair, but
No,
it
you don't.
motivates you, Mike.
It does.
You know, the most value for me, I love Shovel way more. Shovel is just so much more fun, and
Shovel's
that's
the
why
best.
Ikester is holding it. It's the absolute best. It makes or breaks your game. You use the shovel every 55, and sometimes you use it 3 times in a row without a bounty. Sometimes you use it 5 times in a row with no bounty.
Can
And
I
then you
just
just
say,
kind of rage.
yesterday I was having a series of pub games, and one of my pub games involved an alchemist teammate, and I had a shovel, and I've never been so lucky with bounty runes. I was just getting them over and over again, and this alchemist, he was so happy. He just over the moon, John. He just kept getting bounty runes every minute. It was amazing. And, rest assured, I won the game, John. Regardless of how
Wow.
bad my teammates were. Believe it or not, I actually won a game. Very, very
Wow.
good stuff. It may have had
Congratulations.
something to do with the fact that we got, probably triple the bounty runes that the other team had with an alchemist. But I'm not 100% sure on that.
That's fair enough. It's always nice when that does happen. And it's always nice when we get the unpause, but Tingle King is still playing with fire.
Yeah, I mean, the pings are there. They know he's around. Looks like Lions just isn't going to bother with him.
Double damage.
That'll be it. SNY now up on Scourge, and they're going to go for a smoke straight after. Perhaps using Scourge McDuck as bait. I think the cut, as a team, when they're 5, they are feeling quite confident, especially when you know the exorcism is not up.
Yeah, I mean, they've got an angle to take here. There's no metamorphosis as well for a minute. Issue is they smoke up while they're really close to blink on Lil Nick. I think they could have just waited for it. It's 50 gold off now, and if they had the blink, they'd have more angles to take. But for now, it doesn't look like the smoke will amount to much. Although maybe DNM?
Stun out. DNM does take it. Does get another as well. He could not zip out in time. But
Oh,
what
the
a
save.
snowball out is going to be enough. No. DNM is going to die. And now they go straight onto another. It'll be Aikster to go down. A nice attempt there from Aikster, but not quite enough. And now they even found Monster. It just gets worse and worse. They get the DP. And the cut, they are just not being dissuaded. Even with 1 racks down, they're more than happy to just take another team fight, and they win it out quite easily.
Yeah, and this is a bit scary for 5ManMidas. No DP means no exorcism defense. They do have the metamorphosis up on Lies if he wants to stand in front. He does hit hard. He's got his full Scotty up. He's still got a 9-second charge, but the towers still melt quick if you don't defend.
Yeah, luckily for them, there's no Phantasm up. They do pop the glyph, and that's going to be enough for the cut. And I did say 5ManMidas. They were definitely kind of in the lead here, and it was their game to lose, even with only 1 racks up. But that last team fight made it look very easy for the cut. And it may have been the fact that they caught out DNM first, but it does start to concern you a little bit if you are 5ManMidas.
Yeah, I mean, losing DNM like that is just never ideal, and he has had a better game than game 1, but considering his progression here, he's starting to lag behind. He's 10k net worth behind Little Nick, which is not where you want to be considering how slow the Bat Rider farms nowadays. We haven't seen him finish up this Bloodstone as well. So he's been stuck in a rut here as the Storm. No defensive items, no sustain with the Bloodstone. And that's just making it hard for him now to scale into that more mid-game oriented Storm or even late-game oriented Storm you'd want to start to see building up. They need to find a way to get DNM some farm, but there's not much space to play with. There's just not much to share between a TD and a Storm here.
It doesn't seem that way. You've got the roots up now with the Wrath of Nature there from Tingle King. It's going to be very, very annoying for the side of 5ManMidas in this next team fight. Just being rooted in place from 1 spell and kind of having to just deal with it. There's no BKB either on DNM, so he's a bit of a sitting duck if that happens. And the cut, they've got everything up. They might want to go again. Thing is, 5ManMidas also have everything up, so they may feel confident enough to try and fight back.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Scourge is going to find a TD rune. Smoke up, they're going to go for something here.
Radiant's damage.
Tower is under attack.
I believe they want to try and force back 5ManMidas first towards their high ground and then go for the racks. Or maybe they just rat this out.
Is under attack.
Poor Borko. Just TP'd right into his death. Scourge, no Phantasm being popped yet. Monster comes in. Oh, he's 1 by 1 though. He's going to use up. He'll be alright for now, but the Rolling Thunder going to stun him up again, and he's going to go down. Now Lion's trying to fight back by himself. Got to be careful about those Phantasm illusions. Doing a lot of damage in DNM. Does also die. Eggster almost dying to illusions on his own. Scourge McDuck going to go straight into that mid-racks now. And suddenly the game is evening out. In fact, it looks like the cut is about to take an advantage as they force the buyback there from DNM. Zip in onto Tingle. They're going to try and make something happen. Like there wasn't even a zip. DNM just sticking around for the creep wave. Eggster the one snowballing in on the Tusk. There's a Roshan up. They could go for this.
Yeah, there's not going to be a Metamorphosis up on Lies by the time he swings around to that Roshan. It's going to be on cooldown. So prime time for the cut to go into the pit, take that Aegis and Cheese their way. Of course, we could see DNM make another play to zip in and get that out for themselves. So you do have to watch that counter movement out. And they are keeping some disciplined movements out. They want to get some wards on to the pit. They know that's going to be the next objective for the cut. But they're already sort of making their way in, although they see Monster here.
That they do. Flame break. No lasso up right now, but Rolling Thunder is going to be there. Still the high ground is there for 5ManMidas, and they do get the snowball off into the DP, and now they can try to fight back. There's the Exorcism. Freezing Field from the high ground, but none of it's enough. They're just getting blown up. Scourge Dark with the BKB just doing way too much damage. Maybe they get the CM out in time. In fact, no. She dies in the fountain. She'll buy back. But that Roshan should well and truly be the cuts. It's going to be very hard to counter this Roshan play out.
No, not without Exorcism. You still have half a minute until you've got Metamorphosis up as well. So it's back to those timers. This is what 5ManMidas needs to play around, needs to be aware of, is that they are now constrained around 2 timers. They're constrained around Metamorphosis and Exorcism. Every time it's down, the cut will just run at your face, take some objectives. You've got to deal with 2 lives in Scourge McDuck. You've got to deal with no one picking up the cheese. Again. Guys,
come on,
please.
boys. Come on.
Guys? Cheese?
Even if you don't want it, it's worth like 1,000 gold. Just go pick it up.
There you go. No, Scourge?
No, so he doesn't realize. Nobody knows.
All
right.
This is, I think, the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen that, right? Overall in the games we've had. Come on, Tingle. No. No one realizes there's no cheese. Okay, that's fine. They still have this lead. He smoked up. Arcane Root as well for Scourge McDuck, so he gets this Phantasm off. It's going to be up very soon again.
Bot lane. Well, they'd love to get DNM roll. Is he not going to pop the Rolling Thunder?
No.
Still love the fact that Pingu can take TB illusions.
Oh, yes.
It's pretty busted how fast you can push out a creep wave with just 1 TB illusion. And they get the bonus damage on top, which is always nice.
Yeah. I'd say it's fairly balanced.
Yeah.
No issues here holding at mid lane. They are shoving in the bot lane tier 2 now. There is a heart in Scourge McDuck, so 4k HP. Can someone tell me how nice that is to have, right? Like Scourge McDuck hitting like a beast. You can go for the overwhelming blink as well for even more strength. And then, well, I don't think you've got a way to really handle the CK at that point.
I mean, he could go for the overwhelming blink. It's pretty garbage, though. I think if anything, you'd rather just get the swift blink and have all the added movement speed and attack speed bonuses. We'll see, though. Scourge, he might just want to be even tankier. I wouldn't blame him. See what he does want.
Yeah, they do take that tier 2 bot with no contestation. 5ManMidas just playing defensively, knowing that there is an Aegis and a potential cheese that is still not picked up.
My goodness, it's still there.
I mean, this is kind of triggering. Every single time this happens, it's always mildly like, Still, who needs cheese when you have a regen on hand for Lil Nick, I suppose. That seems to be the train of thought. Very close now as well for Lil Nick to pick up that Shiva's guard. Just about 200 gold away, and once you have that up, a lot more presence coming out here on the Bat Rider. 5ManMidas, they're falling behind. 13k lead for the cut. Their top set of racks are gone. Mid-tier 3 taken out. High ground is the spot they're playing in. They do have Metamorphosis and Exorcism, so they have really strong defense right now, but they don't really want to force anything outside at the moment.
I mean, Scourge could just keep farming up to have the Abyssal Blade at this rate. It's going to add so much more control to this draft. And there's no way for 5ManMidas to come out of this base unless they're going to smoke up. In fact, Tingle King's just consistently been throwing treants or greater treants into the mid-racks to try and get some damage off and forcing the defense there from 5ManMidas. They do have a smoke on Still Borko, but this... if you leave the base, you're going to get ratted anyway. In fact, now there's an Octarine core on Tingle King, so his cooldowns are even lower now. And the cart, they've smoked up. They want to try and go for a fight. Those wards made it a little bit obvious though that they are smoked. Scourge does have the blink, so he can go on anyone he wants. There's your Phantasm, and they're just going to throw the illusions and units in. A counter smoke is there by 5ManMidas, but the range rax is gone. This is going to be so frustrating for 5ManMidas to have to deal with.
Yeah, it's not an easy time. I love this build-up on Tingle King. You mentioned the Octarine. Look at that cooldown on Sprout. 4.8 seconds, duration of 6. So if you actually wanted to imprison someone forever, you could. And you have a lot of greater treants that just constantly spam out when these trees despawn. So just so many options here for Tingle King to play with now. And they're just all over the place. Even the teleport cooldown is like down to 12 seconds. So he can just be anywhere he wants.
Oh.
Means he doesn't necessarily have to go for the removed cooldown talent as well.
Hey, look on the bright side, John. With that cooldown on the teleport, it'll be removed in 4 levels. Just teleport all across the map. No cooldown. No problems there.
Dire's bottom tower
Is that a Midas Tingles queued up?
Yes, and
Why?
I guess why not? Maybe, maybe. I don't know. I actually don't know what he wants to save
He's
up
actually
for, but
buying
it's
it.
coming out.
He's actually
He's
buying
actually-
it.
Don't know
is-
about that, but it's confidence.
This is classic Nature's Prophet play, John. It's just never enough for these Nature's Prophet pickers. They've always got to have more gold. Always. They see you farming a wave that's just about to die, and guess what? That Nature's Wrath flying straight through. That's my wave, says the Nature's Prophet picker.
Absolutely.
And now
Oh,
Lies going to be
Lies.
spotted there. Scourge has a double damage rune. Luckily, his blink is on cooldown, so Lies is going to be able to run away, but Monster, I don't know about this. He's going to run in. Lasso is there from Lil Nick. They do purge off the DD rune, but it's not going to matter if Monster dies, and he will. Lies, he pops the BKB, trying to fight back. Now they zip right in onto the CK, but Scourge gets his own BKB off, turning back around onto DNM. He's been silenced up. The Storm can't move. He's going to die. Lies, he gets the Sunder in time, but what does it matter? An Ultra Killer Rampage
Oh.
out for Scourge McDuck, and he might even get a double Rampage, John. Because
Give it.
Monster, he bought back. He's gone. Lies actually gets a kill onto Pingu with some illusions. Monster
giving
trying
it-
to... He's trying to survive. He's trying to run, but that'll be a... No, it won't be a
No,
double
Lil
Rampage.
Nick.
Lil Nick. How dare you?
Oh,
And GG is called. There's your Midas pickup on Tingle King as well. Don't worry, Tingle. We'll check your GPM after the game, Tingle King. We'll make sure you get your credit.
the cut. It looked wonky early. 5ManMidas were actually looking really good. They didn't have a big lead, to be fair. So there's always the potential to swing back. But the cut just find those opportunities, build up. They didn't even need the cheese, Mike. They left the cheese in that pit until the end of the game. I can't believe it. But it pays off, and 5ManMidas, that was probably the best they've looked in a while. Still not finding that win, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take time, right? They just added DNM. It's going to take a bit of time to gel. Obviously, DNM looking pretty good that game, but some late game decisions did cost them in the end. Still with that, John, that leaves us for our final series of the night. It is going to be Arkosh Gaming up against 4Zoomers, which should be a very interesting matchup. Of course, I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, John, but they've already started the beef with Sammy Boy. So we'll see what 4Zoomers can do up against Arkosh. Obviously, 4Zoomers looking to be the favorites in this matchup, but we'll see who does come out on top. And we'll be back with that draft in around 15 minutes, I believe. Game 1's draft. With that, it's MLP on John xfire, and we'll see you all again very, very soon for game number 1.